Question for you. If you had to compare me to one content creator in the League of Legends space, who would you pick? I know the answer in most people's minds. It's probably Travis Gafford. It's the one that I get compared to the most on TikTok. To a certain extent, I've been told that we kind of look like each other. And to a certain extent, I'll be honest, I have copied his style to the degree that, yes, I'm talking about things that I find important around the LCS. The difference being that I'm ultimately not breaking any roster rumors nor leaking any information, which brings up an important question and one that I've had many conversations with. What is the difference between a content creator and a journalist? Because for the longest time in the League of Legends space, there was a pretty clear clash between Travis and the journalist in the space. To be clear, this video is not to bag on anybody. It's just to point out something that I've been struggling with over the last year and a direction that I want to kind of point myself towards going forward. When you look at the LCS media landscape, it's Travis, it's myself, it's Degon, it's many others within the LCS space, and you might have read their articles. Some of them you might have never even heard of until you're seeing this video, and that's fine. But everybody within the press corps has their own different direction that they're going. Degon, for example, he hosts esports events, in addition to hosting podcasts with Monty and Dom and LS, while also doing interviews and being more of a, I guess Dash would probably be the best person to kind of relate him to, more like leading the show in a way. I could see him becoming like the host of LCS at one point in time if talent ever recycles, but League of Legends is a little bit different like that. My boy Jay Silver, he is a lot more traditional journalist media. He works on Capitol Hill, but also does League of Legends interviews and content besides that, which you can tell is reflected in the way that he talks, both on his videos and his interviews and just in general conversation. I love the guy, but he definitely skews more towards traditional. So then what about LCS Eevee, who is notably within the sheep world of anonymous figureheads who aren't anonymous. Their faces are out there in public, but they notably don't put themselves out there all that much. They kind of want that dead mouse level of anonymity. But they are the ones that are in charge, at least nowadays, of establishing the roster rumors and behind the scenes details that many like myself are reacting to. Without them, we don't fully get the information, and they're never going to be close to Riot in the same way that Travis Gafford is, because they're leaking everything that Riot wants to do. That's their whole business model, is getting those stories and getting these moves before teams, before organizations, before anybody else has it, so that they can then report it, obviously get a social media following, and hey, that's fun. It leads community discussion. It's also good because then they can help point out the negative stuff as it happens in the scene. So where do I fit in, or at least where do I see myself fitting into the LCS media landscape, regardless of how other people view me? I personally am trying to angle myself in a Pat McAfee way, where it's all about content. It's about telling stories that I find interesting, shooting the shit about League of Legends in a way that I find fun, never reporting on stuff because I don't want me to be the source of people's information, but there have been times where I've somewhat gotten in trouble for that. Notably, earlier this year, there was the rumor that Riot could possibly move headquarters from LA to maybe Seoul or Shanghai or somewhere else, and I was reacting to the rumor as it came out from somebody else, but I didn't notably specifically say where it was from. I didn't think about the impact that my words would have, so I just tweeted out like, hey, well, if Riot moves the LCS headquarters out from LA to somewhere else, like that's a really bad sign for the LCS in North America. And turns out some rioters actually read this and took it as news. And it was the first instance where I realized, yeah, I gotta be really careful with what I say or do, because there's people outside of me that this could impact their daily lives. So for that reason, over the course of 2023, I have aggressively angled myself in the position of content creator, not journalist. And I've made this explicitly clear. And I don't know, with League Partner Program opening up in 2024, how true this will end up being or what the direction will be going forward. I don't want to commit myself to anything fully, but I've said for the longest time, if I were to get League Partner Program, I would quit LCS Media, just to establish to people that yes, I'm not a journalist. But the more I think about it, and the more I come to terms with my position in the landscape and where I'm trying to inevitably push myself to, which is one of two spots: either A, that Pat McAfee style, where I'm just leading discussions and, appearing on podcasts and just talking about the thing that I love in an informed manner from the business side, or literally running the space in some capacity and helping organize events and everything else like that. Like, I don't see why I should give up LCS Media. It's not like I'm doing interviews like everybody else despite having that. Like, the media badge more or less gives me access to events of which I can then talk about 100 Thieves and stuff with fans at the venue, or I can do occasional interviews that I bake into my content, but the interviews are not the main reason why people come. I have explicitly used thumbnails and everything else in my content over the last year to avoid like the reliance upon pro players, because they can obviously help boost your career and like get you numbers and get you figures and get you clicks, but like I don't want it to be about them in a very clearly egotistical way, but most content creators are egotistical in that way. I want it to be about me, the stories that I want to tell. That way there's this clear delineation of like, yes, I'm making a name for myself, not on the back of others, even though obviously it's on the back of like League of Legends and the product as a whole. Like, I'm not oblivious to that fact. The question becomes, what more can I do here? It's not like I'm able to do anything else to separate myself from the journalist tag. I'm still going to talk about things and tweet about things, and I get that old heads in the journalist space will probably be pissed off at me for doing that, but I make sure in every single tweet that the original source of the information is quoted, that I'm never reporting anything myself. Rumors that I've even heard, notably the 100 Thieves possibly selling or like being offered the chance to sell within the LCS stuff, like I didn't talk about it. I didn't leave any hints or anything out there. Like, I waited until somebody else said something and then I talked about it, and that information was passed to me unwillingly. It's not like I asked for it. Somebody literally just DM'd me knowing that I was a 100 Thieves fan and was like, you know, you might want to see this. And it's like, I really don't, but thank you nevertheless, I get it. For the longest time, I avoided the title content creator. You can actually ask Travis Gafford. When I talked to him in 2022, like, I made it explicitly clear, like, I don't want to put a label on myself. I don't want to, you know, be this content creator or journalist or anything else. Like, I'm just being me. But the truth is, you can't avoid labels. They exist for a reason to a certain extent, which is why I'm embracing the fact that, yeah, I want to be a content creator, which is a drastic term from what I was saying a year ago. I want to do what Cutie Cinderella was doing with the broadcast this past year. The analyst desk, while many people have asked about it, it's not my thing. I'm not that level of depth in terms of my knowledge of the game nor understanding of the other teams and everybody else around the ecosystem that I think that makes sense. I would love to do like a guest appearance and like specifically talk about 100 Thieves. I mean, it's also not like those jobs are going to open up anyways. Like, the thing that I would encourage people that want to get into esports, please start understanding how like the pyramid of work is. For example, if you want to be on the LCS broadcast, you either need the broadcast to expand or somebody else to leave, and nobody's leaving anytime soon. So like, you have to keep those things in mind and learn how to play the political game while trying to rise up in the stuff. Where as content creators, your ceiling is what you make it. It's about the following that you can build yourself and the community that you can raise with it. And obviously, I've been very clear that I want to build up New York City's League of Legends space. And if that carries me to something, then great. If it doesn't, then you know what? Hey, we've had a ton of fun events, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. So to wrap all this up, there is a clear difference between the various people within the LCS media space, between content creators and journalists and anonymous sheep that are technically journalists. There's a mess, and I know it can sometimes be hard to tell what people are in the space and what their intentions are, so I'm just going to be very blunt and honest with you, as I always have been, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I want to be a content creator in the League of Legends space that gets League Partner Program, but also still has the accessibility to esports that LCS media gives you. I'm going to talk about what I find interesting, my opinions on stories, but I'm never going to be the one breaking stories. Where that will lead me, I don't know. There's ultimately only so much you can do. How you see me is how you see me, and if I can change that perception, then great. If not, then I'm not doing a good enough job at it, and I need to get better. See you on Saturday, where we're going to talk about 100 Thieves and expectations going into next year. I nearly just tripped. Adios, bye-bye.